The Supreme Court has lifted restrictions on federal immigration officials in Southern California. Under today's ruling, they will once again be able to stop people they believe may be in the United States illegally based on factors like race, language, or their job. A lower court had previously ruled against so-called roving patrols around the LA area by implementing a temporary restraining order. The Supreme Court did not provide a reason today for its decision to freeze that order, but CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now. And Camilo, you've been following this all day. How quickly do you think that we could see immigration operations changing because of this ruling, and how could they be changing?
Well, technically, on paper, this could be implemented immediately because the Supreme Court has stayed that lower court order that, as you underscored, Nancy, had prohibited federal immigration agents from U.S. Border Patrol, but also U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Southern California from carrying out these roving patrols that in some cases relied on certain factors like somebody's race or ethnicity, the fact that they were working in a certain occupation like a day laborer, or that they were in a certain location like a Home Depot parking lot. And those sweeping, wide-ranging immigration enforcement actions can now be conducted across the country. It also importantly undermines future lawsuits, future potential lawsuits that advocates could file in other locations like Chicago and Boston against ICE activity, because as you know, the Trump administration has now announced that it will increase efforts to target people suspected of living in the country illegally in places like Chicago and Boston. The open question is whether they will also employ the tactics that they used in Southern California, like raiding Home Depot parking lots, which advocates say is indiscriminate.
When you have raids that are perhaps this sweeping, what happens whenever there are civilians targeted who are legal immigrants or, in fact, American citizens when they're caught up in this?
It's a critical question, Nancy. Under U.S. law, U.S. immigration officials still must have reasonable suspicion that somebody is in the country illegally before moving to detain them and ultimately deporting them. So if they know ahead of time that somebody is a legal permanent resident, somebody lawfully in the country, or a U.S. citizen, they're not supposed to arrest that person. But from time to time, ICE and Border Patrol do indeed arrest U.S. citizens or other lawfully present immigrants. They are typically detained until that case can be investigated and they can make a determination that that person is actually here legally, but they're not supposed to be detaining those citizens. If they do, they're supposed to be releasing them as quickly as possible.
I know we're talking about L.A., but is there any impact that this could have nationwide?
Well, yes, because the Trump administration has said that this immigration crackdown will not be limited to Southern California. We know that right now, federal immigration officials, for example, are staging at a naval station in the Chicago suburbs to launch a major escalation in immigration operations in that area. And the president himself has said that immigration enforcement will continue and ramp up in Chicago.
Camilo, thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it.